Hi, hey, hello. We're back for another week of vocab, and this one is all about code switching. So I still want you to be holding these concepts of what's the difference between school and learning and education, still in that muddy soup. This time we're going to add language into it. We've got a language arts classroom, and we're going to talk about this concept of code switching. Go to the vocab section of your notebook. Go ahead and add 7 rows now. 7 rows. All right, code switching. You have probably heard this before. Quick review here of a couple of repeat terms. Remember, you never have to read the green ones, but standard American English, that's going to be our what we think of as like school English. Dialect and slang. Remember the difference between those. Dialect is going to have maybe a particular geographic location that it's tied to, also a syntax, an order of words. Slang is more just like a collection of terms, right? Things like saying bet is an example of slang. So let's talk about code switching. So code switching is a shift in language or register that's guided by a shift in context. I experience code switching or overhear it all the time when I walk down the hallway in school with my jangly little keys and I hear some people talking in the hallway and they hear my teacher keys and immediately start switching the way that they speak, right? You probably code switch all of the time. Let's talk about where register is in here because that is a term that hasn't really been used before. So register is a variety of language used for a particular purpose or in a particular communicative system. So it might be something like the way you change the tone of your voice. It could also be you change the words that you are. It could also be something like you're switching between formal languages as well, right? Here's your picture. Here we're going to look at a poem this week that's really going to talk about a few different ways to speak English. But for right now, can you go ahead and write down our terms and definition for code switching and register now? All right, so there's a second page to this, and that's because we're going to go over what are some of those different phrases that we go through here. So when we're code switching, we code switch in between what is thought of as intimate, casual, consultative, formal, and frozen language. So we're going to take a look at them with examples here, but let's talk first just about the first two, intimate and casual. So intimate is highly informal language used among family members and really close friends, maybe vocabulary known only to 2 people or to a small group. Nonverbal clues exclusive to that small group. Like if you've ever had a friend where you know what they're thinking before they even say anything just by the look on their face, chances are you have intimate communications, right? Casual is informal language of a broader but still well-defined social group. It includes slang and different types of sentence types and frequent interruptions. So casual is like what I hear when I go down the hallway with my jangly little keys, right? Can you take a second now? Let's take a moment and also just look real fast. Here's intimate again, casual. Can you go ahead and write out those terms and definitions for intimate and casual register now? All right, welcome back. That's not all, because you can see from that picture, right, that we actually have 3 other types of language that we go through when if all you had was intimate and casual, it would be a little awkward when you're talking to me, your teacher, right? So speaking of which, let's talk about consultative language. So consultative language is moderately formal language that marks a mentor, protege, or expert novice relationship. So when you're talking to me, we speak in consultative language most of the time, right? You and I, you also do this when you talk to your dentist, when you talk to your doctor, when you talk to a mentor. That's what consultative language is. Now let's contrast that with formal. So formal is language spoken between strangers on or in a technical context. So this might be like at a professional job interview. This might be on the job when you don't know someone well enough to have the intimacy to then slip into something that is more consultative or more casual even. That's going to be our formal language. And then last but not least is frozen. So frozen language is a ritualistic or traditional, as in religious ceremonies or legal proceedings, that kind of really, really official language. So that might be something like the language that's used in a bar or bat mitzvah. It might also be something that's used even in like a graduation speech as well, but something where we know already maybe in advance the language that's going to be used, and it's not the kind of words that you would use on a daily basis. And if you did, there'd be a bit of a like humor behind it, or it would be awkward, right? That's the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this is the penalty of code switching incorrectly. We're going to talk a lot about that this week, but as you go through the week, I want you to think about who are the people? Who is the question here? Who represents the people that you have intimate conversation versus consultative conversation versus frozen conversation? This might even be in your vocab quiz. All right, I'll flash these definitions at you one more time. Remember, don't forget this second page, consultative, formal, and frozen. See you in class.